Divas, welcome back to the channel. We have hit that half year mark, which is astounding if you think about it. And so I thought it would be fun to look back at the roughly 72 books that I've read so far and talk about my 12 favorites. Now, I do want to say, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pick a ranked group of favorites. All right. I'm already thinking ahead to the end of the year. I may have to do categories because I'm also reading a lot of backlist titles. So today I wanted to talk mainly about newly published works, and then maybe I'll do a video in a couple weeks talking about my favorite backlist titles that I've read this year. And at the same time, it's really tricky to read some of these capital L literature books and compare them against some other ones that I really love that just are not even trying to swim in the same pond. You know what I mean? There are some thrillers that I've read this year that I really love, but they're not trying to be a potential Booker nominee, which I think some of these are, or some of these were shortlisted for the international Booker, right? And it's just not trying to be that. So it's a little tricky for me to pit them against one another because they're just so different. So I do hope you'll indulge me. This is kind of my category less list of books that I love. And I think that there's something on this list for everyone. And I like that better too, right? I do love a lot of capital L literature, literary fiction. It's really where my heart lives. But some of this other stuff is really fun. And within the pond that they're swimming in, they're incredible. So I think it's worth talking about them. And then also our dynamic, you're getting more of a complete picture of my reading, but then also what I think other folks might you may not love some of these authors because they're a little wackadoo crazy town with the books that they write, but you'll love these other ones. And it could be vice versa too. You might, that's too simple, I don't care about that one. It's just not the type of book that engages your soul, and you like the wackadoo crazy. Great, but I don't, does it make any sense? I just, let me do it this way, and I think that there'll be something for everyone. Okay, all of that unnecessary preamble out of the way. In no particular order, one of my favorite 12 from the 70 that I've read, over 72 that I've read this year, is Hong Kong's We Do Not Part. Y'all, it is about and I'm gonna mispronounce it. They got really mad at me on another app, and I looked it up. I thought I was pronouncing it correctly, but it's the Jeju Massacre. And it is about creating art, and it is about life and death, and potentially the in between. There's a lot of Hong Kongness in this. Yeah. So if you like the crazy wackadoo, you might be a little confusedness of Hong Kong, you'll love this. I thought it was lovely. Loved. And then this was nominated for the International Booker, and it is Hunchback. The central protagonist has cerebral myopathy, and the entire book explores what it is like to be differently abled. And it particularly explores the question around sexuality and what it means to be alive. And I think it's beautiful. And I think that there are questions that are asked here that we don't normally see asked in general, much less in literature. And I think that it tackles them in this really no holds bar kind of just full out way that is so inspiring to me. The author, to my understanding, has cerebral myopathy. It's amazing, and it's short, and it's one of those that I got to the end and I got confused, and I went back and read the final 50 pages immediately afterwards because I was like, wait, did I miss something? And I didn't. It's just wonderful. It's wonderful. And it's 97 pages, but it's also crazy dense. It's crazy dense, but so good, so good. Ugh, okay, and now for something wildly, totally different. Victorian Psycho. Now listen, y'all may not like the subject matter. Y'all might think that this protagonist is cuckoo cuckoo because she is, but the way that the topics are handled is brilliant. They're brilliant. It's hilarious. It's impossibly dark. It is it's epic. I love this book. I will never stop talking about this book. It's just so fun. And I can't wait to read. She's another one. I think it's called Miss March, which I hear is amazing. I'm going to read it in October. Yeah, Miss March. It's a delight. Now, listen, know what you're getting into. And if you don't like the spooky, ooky, gory sitch, it's probably not your jam. But the spooky, ooky, gory jam that she sets out to accomplish, she does wildly successfully. Okay. Oh, this next one. Again, one that I will have been talking about all year, ever since I read it. It's Under the Eye of the Big Bird. It was shortlisted for the International Booker. It was my favorite to win, that or Small Boat. Um, it doesn't make sense until it does. And the penultimate chapter ties all of it together. It imagines a future that is vastly different from the reality we are living in now. And it jumps around in time. The themes are all the same, but the storytelling is very unique. I don't want to give anything away. That's why I'm like tiptoeing around it. But it is interesting. I got to the end of it and I immediately wanted to go back and like chart out all of the chapters and figure out, okay, where in time did this happen? And where did this character integrate into that story, which was also in this story? And how did they all, like, I really wanted to do that. It's really great. It talks a lot about AI. It's lovely. But again, got to give it till the penultimate chapter. Okay. And then this one, again, totally different. Harriet Tubman live in concert, y'all, which I have started to think about the National Book Award, and I really hope that this is longlisted. I feel 10 toes on the ground. This deserves it. This is it's incredible. The premise is insane. The premise is Harriet Tubman and some other folks in history are brought into present day, and like madness ensues. And basically, Harriet Tubman is writing a hip hop album, and she brings in this producer to write for her. And ultimately, it is about her life, but also her leading him to freedom through the act of self love and through like learning to love who he is as a Black gay man. And or maybe queer. I don't remember if he's bi actually. Sorry. I know he dates men in the book at one point. So yeah, I just think it's done beautifully. I think that Bob's mind is so special. I think that it is worth your time. And also, and I haven't listened yet, which I know I'm the worst, but I think at the end of the audiobook there are some tracks from like the album. I know that they have them in the back of the book. Like the lyrics, right? But yeah, so I haven't listened to the songs yet, which I need to go listen to. But yeah, I love it. I think it's absolutely worth picking up. I think what he does with it is so special and it's so smart and yet also heartfelt and universal and yet also so specifically Black and so specifically queer. It's really lovely. And then another one. I I I was sick when my book club talked about this. And so I'm bummed because they have a lot of great theories. But they're anyways, the book is Audition. And the reason why there are theories is because like halfway through there is a giant narrative shift, and I don't think I know yet what happened. And that is what has kept this book living rent free in my head. Um it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And like, again, if you don't like books that are like, if you don't like books that leave you with unanswered questions and that leave you wondering and thinking and needing to figure it out, then that's not the book for you. But if you're down to clown, oh my God, it's just like a playground of what the just happened. It's great. It's also, you know, there are clear overarching themes, I think, about mental health and about dementia that we're playing with there, but like the narrative shift is not clear as to like what and why and how it's being handled. I loved it. Okay, now for something completely different. This is a debut novel by a dear. You should all go follow her on the TikTok. It is Junie, and I feel like I get nervous. I do the research, I figure out exactly how to say her last name, and then I get nervous and it's like wrong every time. But it's Aaron Crosby Eckstein. I have looked it up. I have looked it up. I don't commit it to I have committed it to memory, but then I get on here with a microphone and then I get really nervous that I'm gonna screw it up and then I do. So it's but anyways, Junie, it was important conversation. It was the only book club pick in February that was a Black author, which is Insanity the Musical to me. So good on Good Morning America for choosing a Black author in February. The rest of them, that's a choice. But the book is incredible. I was never bored. It was propulsive from the minute it started until it ended. I thought it was just so lovely. And yes, it does deal with the like realities of, I think it was 1860. I think it's 1860 in the South. And so, like, you are dealing with the realities of enslaved people. But I don't feel, as much as it is about that, it is truly at its core about these like beautifully fleshed out characters and love and life. And so it's just this great balance of these two things that I think is just done expertly. I will be honest, I was a little trepidatious because it does talk about like a ghost story and there's like a ghost in it. And I was like, that's not my vibe. No judgment. That's just not normally my vibe. And it's handled perfectly. Like any way that I would have like in my head tried to be like, okay, how could she work this in a way that I wouldn't hate it? I couldn't have come up with it because it's just done so well and so seamlessly. So yeah, I really love it. I think it's really powerful. It's fun, it's propulsive, and it's also very consumable and very easy to get through, right? Like some of these, like, you know, Under the Eye of the Big Bird, you're gonna be like, what the hell is going on until the penultimate chapter? But this is just like great storytelling. Yeah, it's great. And next, okay, this has begun my official love affair with the one and only Miss Joyce Carol Oates. Fox. And in fact, I finished this, then I went to hear her speak at the 92nd Street Y. And while I was there, I picked up We Were the Mulvaneys, and I can't wait to read it later this year. I hear that's like a masterpiece. Yeah, I loved it. And y'all, it's a honker and a half, and all 650 pages are worth it. And listen, once you start flirting around 400, and particularly when you get past it, usually I think you can edit out 50 to 250 pages. Genuinely, and I like really mean this, I feel like all 650 pages are worth it. I really do. And I almost never say that. I literally almost never. It's really great. She created some amazing characters that are surprising, that are disgusting, but yet also seduce you. It's just wild. And every time I rolled my eyes and was like, Joyce, I read all this way for you to do that? Like, really? Keep reading. Because then in 30 pages, she's like, hi, I'm smarter than you. Hi, I'm Joyce Carol Oates, and you are not. And I have this, right? Like, Just sit tight. It's great. It's great. Highly, highly recommend. And then I think this is a controversial take based on some things I've heard from folks, but Flash, 10 toes on the ground, Flash. I loved the sparse prose. I thought it was brilliant. I thought that the sparse prose was leveraged in such a way that we get a very unique, authentic insight into like the male psyche and the way men move through space. I want to say cis straight men, but like there are some gay men actually who I've dated who probably have as much emotional intelligence as this protagonist. So men, yeah. Um, but yeah, I think it's great. I also love just like there's juxtaposition, like he's just such a flawed character, and there's this amazing juxtaposition of like him withholding and being so there's like a lack of forthcoming with his emotions and his communication with all the people in his life. And yet then at some point he like starts to demand it from others, and it's just wild. It's like, oh yeah, of course. You know what I mean? Like, I know you, I've seen you. It's Insanity the Musical. It's also a great I think exploration of class, and a lot of really interesting things are handled there, and like a lot of interesting choices. It's really great. It's really great. And then again in the category of like something totally different, Count My Lies. You also go follow her on socials. I think her socials are a hoot and a half. She's on Instagram more, and then I love Erin on TikTok more. I mean, they follow him wherever. I think Erin also has an Instagram, but I love her TikToks. But yeah, Count My Lies. It's great. The twists and the turns just like come a mile a minute. It kept me going on the edge of my seat. I was strapped in from beginning to end. I just wanted to inhale it. They're making a TV show out of it, I think, with Lindsay Lohan, who I'll put it here. Lindsay Lohan liked my video on the TikTok. So like my whole life is made. I used to walk to class in undergrad listening to Rumors and just like vibing out. I like have a distinct memory of crossing Mass Ave and like listening to Rumors. I don't know why, but there's something that was happening that day, I guess. Like it's a core memory for me. Love. Anyways, all that to say, like I just think it's so much fun. And again, like it's totally different than the like, you know, I don't know how I could rank like Audition next to Count My Lies, but I loved both of them for very different reasons, right? I just if you're into the thriller, the twisty, the turny, the like who's telling the truth, who's lying, that. And then last but certainly not least, the Impusium. Again, this is one that's I think like Under the Eye of the Big Bird. If you're gonna start it, you got to commit to reading the whole thing, because I don't feel like it comes together until we get towards the end, and then it's all in like crystalline focus, and you're just like, oh right, you're brilliant. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot about self and self love and learning to love oneself and being true to oneself, which actually that's fascinating. I mean, sure, I guess that's a theme in literature, just like in general at large. But I actually do think that that is a big theme for some of my favorites of this year. That's really interesting. I need to look to see if maybe that's a theme in my life that I'm like subconsciously taking into my like reading and like reading preferences. I'll need to look at that. But yeah, and I think it's lovely. And this is the first one of hers actually that I've finished. I started the books of Jacob, but that one is, I mean, that one needs like dedicated time, and I don't know when I'll get back to that. But the and I talked about this, oh maybe I talked about this in some other video, but the plow, the book, the bones and the plow, and the drag your bones over the plow of the soil or the something. I'm gonna read that maybe at the end of the year, but I think she's amazing, and this book was really really powerful. But again, you got to commit to the whole thing. I think you got to like, even if you're feeling dippy on it, you got to finish it. I think because it really does. That's when it comes together. So yeah, These are the 12, aren't they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That was 11. Um, okay. The 12th. The 12th is Things in Nature Merely Grow by Yian Li. She had two children who unalived themselves, and this work of art is about, or in response to, the second child who's no longer with us. That's another reason too why I feel like a ranking for me right now at this point in the year doesn't really work, because the idea of ranking something like this that's so raw and so personal and so vulnerable and so beautiful feels so distasteful. Um it's gorgeous, it's intense. I think you need to check your triggers. I think she's like impossibly vulnerable and impossibly forthcoming. It's truly a work of art. It is also a full K-hole of depression. So like, steel yourself. And again, just to like further support, like, because again, how do you rate this? How do you rank that against like a Count My Life? It's just like a totally. But I love them both. Does it make any sense? I don't know. I'm gonna stop defending it because that's just I make the rules. So yeah, those are the 12. Let me know in the comments what your top 12 reads of the year so far are, or if you don't have 12 favorites, like your top three, right? Yeah, I hope that some of these are new to you, or some of them are on your TBR and they this bumped them higher on your list. And I will talk to you next week.